3, 5, and 8. The numbers, Yvan LaCroix, they could very well change lives.
Right. Those are the numbers on our coatings. Now those numbers, 3, 5, and 8, are not related to me being Yvan.
And me being Nick.
Or the DIY Detail podcast.
Well, we're good at this, huh?
What they are related to is this is an 8-year coating. We have a 5-year coating and we have a 3-year coating. Now, we were founded in 2022. Officially, we came on the market then. We did some work behind the scenes before that. How can we say a coating is going to last 8 years when our company is a year old?
The coating science, as I understand it, has been around for some 30 years.
Exactly.
So we're talking about established science, new company, experienced detailing veteran, passionate detailer. We're able to talk, use the language called English, speak with chemists who have been doing this for decades, test the products out ourselves. Like, there is a lot that we can do, leverage, lean upon to put the best product out to market.
Right. Now, there are some companies that make bold claims on their coatings that they're going to last 7 years, even a lifetime I've seen. And whose lifetime? We don't know. That being said, the reason we can confidently say our coatings are going to last 3, 5, and 8 years is because of the science involved in the coatings. Now, the science in coatings keeps getting better and better every year, but the basic building blocks of coatings have been around for a long time. What is changing is the carrier solvents. What's changing is the way we're delivering the coating to the paint. Yes, we're wiping it on, we're leveling it like any other coating, but the science behind the technology to take the coating from the bottle to the paint and keeping it there is what's changing. And that's what we focused on. So we went with proven technology: polysilazane, silicon nitride, silicon dioxide, and silicon carbide. Those are the building blocks of our coating. And the 3-year has graphene. And we'll explain a little later why only the 3-year has graphene. But those building blocks are there, and we know those building blocks are solid. Now, every coating company will use 1, 2, maybe 3 of those building blocks to build their coating. We decided to go all in. So we have the polysilazane, silicon nitride, silicon carbide, and silicon dioxide. Now, in our 3-year, our 5-year, and our 8-year, those proportions are changed to get the characteristics we want. But those basic building blocks are there, and we know they last. Now, as a professional detailer, Nick, you've done this as well. You can prove it to anyone. I can make a 1-week coating last a lifetime.
I can make ceramic gloss last a lifetime. You put it on after every car wash.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I can make a lifetime coating fail in about 5 minutes. All I have to do is take compound to it and it's gone. So maintenance has a lot to do with how your ceramic coating is going to last. And for us, when we say 3, 5, and 8 year, we're banking on, or we're suggesting that you maintain your car as any car enthusiast would. Meaning you wash it every 2 weeks or so. You don't treat it with overly harsh chemicals, and you don't necessarily take it through a car wash. Now, we've proven in the past, and you can see it here, that you can take a car through a car wash many times. My Fiat has been through 70 car washes with our first generation coating and held up beautifully.
There's a chance that when you see this video, Yvan won't even own the Fiat anymore.
It's a possibility. That being said, the Fiat braved, and I say braved because I always searched out the worst car washes in any town that we were in.
You searched them out with glee.
Yes.
Like a maniacal fervor with which you tried to find like the most damaging car wash to put our coating up against the test.
Right. I'd find the local detailer and ask them, hey, what's the worst car wash in town? And they'd say, well, that one, but I'd never go. That's the one I'm going to. That being said, we have the solid building blocks that are there. Now, the durability, the 3-year, the 5-year, and the 8-year, in reality, our 3-year coating is going to last a long time. Our 5-year coating is going to last a long time, and our 8-year is going to last a long time as well. And well maintained, they potentially can last the lifetime of the car. There's no need for a topper. There's no need to put the coating back on every year. There's some companies that rely on, they'll have a lifetime coating, but oh, you have to put this on once a year. And they're basically putting on a 1-year coating. So there's no need for that. We're enthusiasts. We're going to suggest you use quick beads or ceramic gloss once in a while when you wash your car. As a drying aid, it's great, but that's just going to add another little sacrificial layer on top of your coating. The coating is the foundation. It's the building block on which you build your look.
You know what's interesting, speaking of our look as a relatively new company, we came out of the gate with products that I absolutely adore.
Right.
Like quick beads, ceramic gloss, incredible suds, rinseless wash. Like all these exterior products that people are using, we're talking about exterior detailing here.
Exactly.
Just stars. Like people love them.
Right.
And we decided with our ceramic coating, we also worked really hard on this one.
Yeah.
Let's not even put a number.
Right.
Let's just say we are DIY detail. We're for the do-it-yourselfer. Like, we hope you trust us. Here's a ceramic coating. Here's how to use it, and blah, blah, blah. And the market said,
we need a number.
we need a number.
Yeah.
And so we didn't just put that bottle into new bottles and create this new.
No.
We went back to the drawing board with our chemist.
Right.
And said, we got to kick some ass. Like, we have a really good reputation with our products now. We're not just going to throw out some random stuff. Like,
no.
we believe in these. It took a long time to get here.
Yeah.
And the durability claims are based on everything that we know to be true, that we felt, tested, and that the chemist said.
Yeah.
But like, how does someone out there believe these durability claims?
Unfortunately, you're going to have to try it and put it on yourself. But ceramic coatings have been in the automotive market for over 20 years. The basic building blocks, the polysiloxane and the silicon carbide specifically, have been around a lot longer than that in other applications. So we know that technology lasts. Now, why did we choose 3, 5, and 8 years? So that is, like I say, the basic chemical resistance, the durability of the coating, what it's doing to protect your paint will be there for probably the lifetime of the paint. But the 3-year, we used graphene. Now, graphene is exceptional. It is a great product to have in a ceramic coating. But graphene forms a matrix, if we can put it that way. So a very light little lattice work sort of there on top. And what the graphene does is spectacular. It helps prevent water spots. And as detailers, we like beading. Beading, unfortunately, leads to water spots. The graphene over time is going to break down. And it doesn't break down chemically, it breaks down because of abrasion. Abrasion is your coating's worst enemy. And over time, you're pressure washing. There's that little piece of dirt that your pressure washer is pushing across the surface. There's that dry microfiber towel that might have just a little thing in it. You took it through a car wash. It's storming outside, whatever.
How about snow that just sits on your paint and then slowly drags itself off as it melts?
Yeah, dragging all the dirt down with it.
Yeah, there's just not everything is into your control.
Right.
If it's a garage queen, even then, I always say, well, if it's a garage queen, it's different. Even garage queens have their own issues with dust and the elements.
And people putting car covers on them when the car's dusty. That being said, we have that 3-year graphene. Now, the coating is going to last more than 3 years, that protection. But the graphene aspect of it, 3 years is a good solid number. It could last more. Well maintained, it's going to last much longer than that. But the side effect of graphene, the reduced water spots, sort of has a limit to it. And 3 years is a good low number for that limit. So we didn't want to say it's going to last 5 years, and then 4 years in, you're going, I got water spots now. And if you're parking beside a sprinkler in the sun and you have a black car and you don't wipe it off, you are going to get water spots even though you have graphene. So it's not a
true statement on that one.
Yeah, it is not a water spot annihilator, preventer. It's going to help reduce the incidence of water spots.
And when you put the 3-year on with graphene, it has a different look to it. Like, it's not just another coating.
No, and it feels silky. It's really weird. It actually feels silky. And most graphene-infused coatings, and it's graphene oxide, by the way, just to be completely, on the right terminology. But the graphene oxide coatings have that really silky feel to it, and you'll get that. Now, and the graphene also has a little other side effect, being more self-cleaning than most coatings. Now, our 5-year, we went for the ultimate in gloss. You want that shiny red lipstick look on your red car. You want that glossy, looks like a mirror, looks like it's, you put your hand on it, it'll get wet, it's so glossy. That's our 5-year coating. And again, the reason we put that 5-year limit on it is through abrasion, through chemical wear, through a little bit of oxidation, and coatings prevent oxidation, but they still get that little teeny weeny bit of oxidation on them later on down the road. That 5-year time limit is about what that's going to happen. So if you maintain it properly, again, ceramic gloss once a month or as a drying aid every time you wash your car is going to stay glossy forever. But that being said, we want to give you a nice solid number, and honestly, that gloss after 5 years, it could be as glossy as day one, but it could start diminishing then. So we want to tell you, and we know through the science behind the coatings that, hey, for the first 5 years, that gloss, if the vehicle is well maintained, is going to stay there. So then we come to the 8-year, the boldest claim of all.
It will take a trained eye for you to tell the difference in gloss between all these three.
Yeah, exactly.
And I would say the same is true about slickness.
Right.
But in all of our testing, I like the slickness of the 8-year. The graphene is super slick. Maybe it's my head that we're putting on the mega coating.
No, actually,
it's so slick.
Yeah. So when we had our final production pieces, I actually blind to Nick, put them on a panel. He doesn't know which ones are which. I had him touch them, and he was able to differentiate between the 3-year, the 5-year, the 8-year.
Were you surprised by that I kind of got it?
No, most people do. So most people I hang out with are detailers. So
but like I immediately said 8 years the slickest, and then when I got to graphene, I was like, ooh, this one's pretty good too. And then once you told me that was the graphene one, I was like, well, maybe this one's slicker. But you always go with your first gut feeling on a multiple choice test, whatever. Like trust your gut. And like I've used the coating a bunch of times, but in this test comparison, it was sort of like, I think it's 8-year.
Yeah. So the 8-year has incredible slickness. The self-cleaning ability, the gloss, everything is there. But we can give it that claim because we're not saying this one's going to be glossy or it's going to be this for this amount of years. The 8-year is there for protection. That's what we're after. We want the chemical protection. We want that durability. We want the shine. We want the gloss. We want the ease of cleaning. And that is going to be there. Again, if you maintain it properly, it's going to last much longer than 8 years. Personally, I've never kept a car more than 3 years, except for one. But I kept one car 20 years, but it was a weekend toy. So that's the reason it stayed. But my daily driver, 1 year is about my limit, sometimes 2. So that being said.
Well, speaking of years though, I mean, people are still gonna ask these questions like, how do the chemists formulate a durability number? How can they say a coating that we're just releasing will last 8 years when it's clear that our company has been around for a year, right? So like, these are still questions I wanna make sure we don't just tiptoe around.
The chemist we have has been making ceramic coatings for over 30 years. He's a veteran in the industry, and yes, he makes ceramic coatings for other companies as well. So he knows that these basic building blocks, so the polysilazane, not exactly the sexiest of coatings, but polysilazane is hard, it's tough, it's resilient, it's chemically inert. So it's doing what it needs to do. It is providing that basis of protection. Then when we add the silicon nitride, again, we're getting even more of that chemical inertness. We're getting more protection. We add the silicon carbide in, that gives us the hardness and we'll say scratch resistance. It's not scratch proof, and it's, in terms of a detailer, it's better explained as marring a resistance.
Sure.
So, scratch, not the best. One way of putting it, one way of looking at it, if you have a memory foam mattress, right? You have a memory foam mattress, you can stand on it. And when you come back, it comes back to where it is. And all coatings, and actually the paint on a car is somewhat self-healing. Now we're not saying it's a self-healing coating, dude, stop writing right now. But all coatings have that capability to some point.
Okay.
And the best way of explaining it with a coating, let's say we take a microfiber across the surface. And that microfiber, we happen to be pressing just a little too hard. Well, we're going to put a dent in the surface, so in the paint. And over time, with the sun, the hot and cold, the coating is a plastic in a sense. It's a ceramic, but there's flexibility built in with the polysilazane. And then the paint underneath is a plastic. It's soft. What happens is you've created that dent. With the hot and cold cycles, it will eventually level itself back out. So self-leveling or self-healing in a sense. But again, we're not going there. Now, if you take that same memory foam mattress and you take your kitchen knife to it, saw in, well, yeah, it's going to have that line there that you're never going to be able to fix.
Well, that's where you store the cash.
Oh, okay.
The drug money?
Oh, yeah, no. Never had drugs in my life, so couldn't tell you that one. But nonetheless, once you scar it like that, that scar is permanent.
Right.
So with a coating, it's the same thing. If you scar it by scratching it, by using sandpaper, by using compound, or a key, whatever, just poor wash technique for that matter, that will give you the unfortunate cut in the coating. Now, if we dent the coating, so to speak, with a brush or with something, it's going to bounce back from that. And one thing that a lot of people are really uneducated about is the coatings themselves, they're chemically resistant. Now, I've seen people, they'll wash their coating with pure all clean, and it will look like the coating is gone because now you've scarred the coating. You've chemically etched the coating, but give it a day or two, it's going to bounce back. Another big damaging factor to coatings is calcium, salt, or minerals. And if you're in a northern climate where they have snow on the road, chances are they're putting some form of calcium or salt on the road. That gets into the pores of the coating, and then the coating seems to disappear. The water just sheets. It doesn't bead anymore. It doesn't run off. Water spot remover, your coating's back to life.
Boom.
Yeah.
Such a great trick.
Right.
We should rename that. We should rename, but it's not called coating rejuvenator, so it sort of feels like we should rename it or something.
Yeah.
It feels like a trick when you discover it. Then you're like, oh, okay, this is awesome.
Yeah. Basically, you're just taking the minerals off the surface.
Boom.
So, yeah. Gone. So with coatings, there's a lot of things that can damage your coating, but there's a lot of things that just temporarily scar the coating. And calcium is one of them. It temporarily forms a little barrier on top of the coating. If you use a harsh chemical, be it a wheel acid, or go on the other end of the pH scale, the all clean, or some form of high pH cleaner, you're going to scar the coating, but it's going to bounce back from that. And if you don't have a good building block to your coating, though, that's when it can be attacked and permanently damaged.
So going back to the fact that we are leveraging the wisdom and the experience and the knowledge of our chemists with decades of experience to give us the building blocks commensurate with our durability claims.
Yes.
Right? Our age statement coatings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what we did rack his brain about, and he's really happy about the outcome, but he wasn't happy about the amount of work he had to put in, was making the coatings easy to install.
Oh, yeah. The flash time?
Yeah.
Where we tell you you can coat half the car and give it 5 minutes essentially. You have that 5-minute window.
Right.
To level the coating. Whereas
Exactly.
before it's like, I gotta make sure I get this all, or if I go to the next door and miss this, there's a high spot that I'm gonna have to sand off, right?
Right, exactly. So we worked hard, and we worked our chemists hard to make sure that the coatings were easy to apply for anyone. So if you can apply a wax, our coating is probably easier to apply than a wax. There's less work involved. It's apply it to the paint, let it sit for 5 minutes, level it with 2 towels, and you're good to go.
And that goes for all of our coatings, 3, 5, 8, and our new metal coating. And by the way,
now the metal coating is a little different. The solvent carrier in it has to be very slow. So that one you actually leave on the surface 10 minutes before you touch it.
Okay, I knew it was a minimum of 5.
Yeah.
But I figured we could go higher on all of our coatings.
Right.
But that 5 was like a good round number.
Yeah.
So we're sticking with that.
Exactly.
Listen, there's some wiggle room in there. It doesn't have to be exactly 5 minutes on the spot.
No, you don't set the
10
timer.
minutes, right? But these are things that, like, if we give you a number that you can, time,
Reference.
it's going to be helpful for you.
Yeah.
Like, nobody minds guidance, and you can decide if you're going to follow the rules
exactly,
or not.
yeah.
But, you want to make sure you're doing this right.
Right. And with our coatings, we made them so that if you're wiping it off too soon, it'll feel rubbery. It'll feel wet, sort of feeling like you're moving syrup around. But when you find that sweet spot, which is roughly around 5 minutes, it's going to wipe off or level. You're not actually wiping it off. Your coating towel should never get wet, should never get damp for that matter. You're actually just leveling the coating, And any little remaining solvents, the carrier solvents that are still on the surface, you're going to pick those up. They're going to evaporate out of your towel quickly. And from there, you've got a beautiful, glossy, shiny, slick surface. Now, it'll take another hour or so to build that ultimate slickness, and it takes about a week or two to build the ultimate gloss. So your coating is not 100% cured right away. It has a surface cure, but it's still cross-linking to the paint. It's still going into the little pores of the paint and leveling itself out and getting in there. And we say minimum, bare minimum of 1 hour before releasing it out in the rain. If you can wait 8, even better. But if you have an emergency or you're a mobile detailer, you can't control the weather, your customer doesn't have a garage or you don't have a garage at home, then if you know you've got that 1 hour window that it's not gonna rain, you're safe. You can do it.
And these can be installed outside.
Yes.
Avoid direct sunlight if at all possible, right? Just use common sense. You don't want a scorching hot panel.
No.
But this can be done.
Oh, it can be done. You might have to adapt those times a little bit.
Yeah.
But a coating, once it's on there, we tell you and we please do not wash it for 1 week. And we say that for one very specific reason. Chemicals can attack the surface. And a high pH, like if you take it to a car wash, they're going to use either very low pH or very high pH or a combination of both. That you want to be careful of, because now you can scar the coating, but it's not going to bounce back from that because it's not cured yet. So 1 week without washing. Now, if you get a bird balm on the car, yes, take a bit of rinseless wash it off. Not a problem. I've seen people that have had their cars coated and the detailer didn't give them the proper instructions, and they go home and hose it off and let it air dry. Because, the detailer told me not to wash it, but there was dust on it. Leave the dust on it. It's not going to hurt anything. But yeah, so try to not wash the car for a week. Of course, if you have a bird balm, if you have bugs on the front end, you're going to want to wash that. The rinseless wash is by far the best way to do that in that case.
There's a lot of questions that we could still answer. We hope that you'll comment below if you're watching on YouTube. Ivan, before we end, did I cut you off on anything super critical? Because I do want to let people know, if you're curious, how the heck do I do this?
Yeah.
How do I wash, prep, polish, and ceramic coat my car? We have a video right here, and actually it's a 4-video playlist of Ivan's Fiat. It's going to show you exactly how to do it, and then we have an entirely different playlist with our new ceramic coatings, and it's right here, and it's all about our new coatings, everything you want to know about 358, and of course,
the metal coating.
The metal coating.
Now, if you're listening on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, or something else like that, you don't have access to these cards that we're somewhat pointing to here, and you can't see us pointing because you're listening to us. Well, very easy. Go to our YouTube channel, DIY Detail. You'll be able to find the video and reference those videos as well. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and if you're on those audio-only platforms, give us a little review.
And by the time that we get here, YouTube is going to expire these cards. So if you don't see them now or you didn't see them before, we really tried.
Yeah. See you in the next one.
Go. Bye, guys.